And a pleasant good evening to all of you. Welcome to another rendition of this awesome podcast. My name is Ryan Peterson, alongside my main man over here, Mr. Ryan Gross. Ryan, how you doing tonight, my man?
Very good. How are you, Ryan?
I am exhausted. The weather here in New York is unbearable.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
I did 2 shows this weekend, and the worst part was the heat by far. Yes.
God bless you. So the debut episode, which we did company for, first of all, we were testing out different names. Originally, that name was R Squared Reviews, but my illustrious colleague over here gave me a suggestion earlier today. So how does R2R sound? Kind of like a little, like, for those that kind of remember the show Gumble to Gumble, Ryan to Ryan, R2R. It's worth a shot to try it out. So we also promised that we were going to talk about A Strange Loop today, but unfortunately, we're going to push that back to episode 3 because this episode, I was actually asked by the show itself to give my review on it because one of the segments we're going to be doing on this podcast, not only both of our reviews on the same show, but also one week it'll be a show that I've seen that he hasn't seen, and then vice versa, and we both ask each other questions, kind of like a little Q&A. So unfortunately, I'm jumping the gun first. Sorry, Ryan. I am taking the lead on this one because I've been asked personally by the show itself, and the show that I'm going to review is Paradise Square.
Now, this is a show that I wish I would have been able to see. They pretty much announced that they were closing the week that they were closing, which made it kind of hard to get to the theater. So unfortunately, like Ryan said, I did not get a chance to see this, so I will be asking Ryan questions about the show.
And the funny thing was, the day that they announced, Ryan and I were like constantly like looking.
Yes.
And literally, like the cheapest seat that we saw was like what, $200?
$200. Yeah, it wound up where I think the show might have actually sold out on its last day.
I think so.
Yeah.
Very happy for them.
Yeah. So Ryan, why don't we start by you telling us what this show is about?
So the show, it's a fairly new show. It's a story about a neighborhood in Harlem, New York during the 1860s, I believe 1862 to be exact, as I try to pull the little synopsis. There we go. In 19th century New York City, the 5 Points, it's a neighborhood in New York City, and it's home to two different types of groups of people. On one side, you have the Irish immigrants that fled Ireland during the famine, and on the other side, you have freed African American slaves from the South, and all of them live in this little neighborhood community. And in this community is a saloon called Paradise Square, kind of like, a 19th century style version of Cheers, for anyone that knows the show, because everybody knows each other. And the show itself, it was phenomenal what I saw. Like, there was a mix of I never thought I would actually see this mesh of Irish step dancing and hip hop, and they both meshed really well together. So I'm so blown away by it, and I saw it like about a month ago.
So what did you think of this show overall, like in your personal opinion?
So I went into the show because normally I do research on a show that a new show I want to see, just trying to get an idea of what to walk into. But for this one was literally a spur of the moment, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to do any research. I want to be surprised when I walked in there. And boy, was I surprised in a very good way, though, because again, like I said, the singing and the dancing with the meshing of the Irish step dancing and the hip hop, and the singing, the vocals. Oh my God, I was blown away by everything.
I gotta say, I do agree. Sometimes going into a show blind is I like doing that sometimes because it's like you have no expectation of the show, what it is, what it's supposed to be, and then it's not hard to surpass your expectations when you don't have any. So I find myself lately not doing any research on certain shows.
Oh, absolutely. It's and especially for this one where they've been it was only open for at that point. I think it was open for like a month and a half. And again, just trying to find research, but decided to go in and just see what's all about.
Yeah, unfortunately, it only performed 116 performances, not including previews. Yeah, it really is a shame. But so I know this show got some Tony nods. Do you know which ones this show was nominated for?
There was like 10 of them they were nominated for, which I was very happy to see.
Right.
Yeah, there was about 10 of them, but the only one won, and that was Best Leading Actress in a Musical, which was won by Joaquina Kalukango, who played Nellie O'Brien, one of the main characters in the show. And my personal opinion on that one, when I was literally sitting at home watching the Tony Awards, literally because I haven't watched the Tony Awards in like years, and when that nomination came out, I literally hopped down on my I was just laying down, hopped up, and literally sitting on the edge of my couch, and I was thinking to myself, if she doesn't win, I'm gonna freaking scream. But luckily, she won, and I was very happy about it.
Now, was she the one that performed "Let It Burn"?
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna get right into it. This show, basically, I think, in my opinion, has some of the songs that were like phenomenal in the show. Like obviously the opening number, which is Paradise Square. Another song that she actually sings called "Heaven Save Our Home." But this song, "Let It Burn," I was asking the ushers of the Ethel Barrymore Theater. Very nice people, by the way. Amazing, like front of house staff. I think it's actually like one of the best I've ever seen because they were so nice, so respectful. I just wanted to point that out. So when that song, apparently when the usher said to us that apparently that song gets a standing ovation every single night. Oh, when I heard that, I was not only in tears, but I got up faster than a rocket launching.
Well, you can really see when she performs that song, all her heart and soul goes into it.
Oh my God. And from a musician standpoint, the fact that she can hold off that last note for like almost like 20, 30 seconds.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
By the way, that song is available on YouTube on Paradise Square official YouTube channel. Check it out.
They didn't release a full cast recording, did they?
Not yet. From what I read in the closing report, they're expected to. They released a couple of songs. I think one of them was Paradise Square and Let It Burn and something else. But supposedly the full album is coming out in mid-September, I believe.
Yeah.
And on top of that, they're looking to do a national and a possible international tour.
Okay. No, that's actually, considering everything that's gone on with the production, that's really good to hear.
That is very good to hear. So
and I have to, because I know we don't really want to go into too much of the drama and everything, but I have a lot of respect for everyone for continuing day in and day out and just giving it their all. So I mean, I really wish I could have seen the show.
And definitely the one thing about Paradise Square that I definitely loved was not only from this. I'll talk more about the show in a little bit, but definitely want to talk about the cast for a little bit. The cast was phenomenal to talk to after the show. Like when they came out of the stage door, they pretty much treated every fan like family. I actually became close friends with a couple of cast members, which is insane. One of them actually, I believe the gentleman's name is Lee Siegel. I believe his name. He was one of the ensemble members, but he actually gave me a hug. I'm being straightforward. After I told, because I was walking from another show, happened to be walking by the Barrymore to get to my car, and I saw them coming out and whatnot, and I was talking to Mr. Siegel, telling him how everyone in the cast was phenomenal, and especially for someone like me who's from an Irish heritage, it definitely felt like a little bit of home for me, and he literally gave me a big hug, which I almost was in tears, which is amazing. Obviously, we wore a mask to be safe, but
yeah,
I want to point that out there. But he did a phenomenal. Everyone in that cast did a phenomenal job. Not only the cast, which I think the cast is like 30, 40 people, which is a lot of people in one show. So here's a little more about the show, like that gets into everyone all happy go lucky dancing all the way to the end. The words "Let It Burn." So as I stated, it's around 1860, 1861, and that was when the Civil War was going on. Nellie's husband, who also owns the pub, was stationed to go down to the South to fight in the Civil War. Unfortunately, he did not make it back, but someone else made it. But one of the other characters made it back. I forgot his name in the show. He was like one of the other generals. I'm so sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I should have done better research on this before we started this. Yep. Okay, I'm not getting into it right now. Anyway, he comes back with a missing limb, and unfortunately, he tells Nellie that her husband did not come home. So he comes home, and there's also a mogul, like a kind of like a Rockefeller type mogul who's building up New York City, with all the buildings, the tall towers and whatnot. And the only neighborhood that supposedly is still the same that no one has touched is the Five Points. And this mogul was trying to do everything in his power, because he has all the money and whatnot, and try to find everything that he can to make sure to somehow get into this neighborhood without any BS and whatnot. So in comes a freed African American slave from the South, using Paradise Square as an asylum. I think that's the right term. Like when someone comes. Apparently he's running from law enforcement, because apparently he escaped. Supposedly the story was he escaped the South, and he was using Paradise Square as an asylum. He started working there alongside another individual who also was nominated for Tony for Best Featured Actor. I forgot. I have the playbill right here, so it's a good thing I have this. AJ Chivoli, who was nominated for Best Featured Actor, and the other character, I can't remember the character's name, but I do remember the actors. Sidney Dupont, who was the person that used the Paradise Square as asylum, saying that his wife, was missing in the run, so they couldn't find him, but apparently she was safe somewhere else, thanks to one of the priests that was there. And then it turned out that the mogul found a wanted sign that has both him and his wife on there. So what happened was he went down in the South, because they were both slaves. He killed his master, and he was wanted for multiple states. And they were trying to get up to, I believe, Canada for asylum, because obviously there's no jurisdiction up in Canada. I know it sounds very confusing, I know, but you had to see it to experience it. But then also there was a dance competition that was going on, because the mogul was threatening Paradise Square, fines and all that BS. Pretty much again trying to do whatever he can to get his hands on that property so he can build towers and shit. So a little bit down the line, here comes the other general with the missing arm. He's talking to the mogul now. And I'm sorry, I'm missing a key part of the story. In the beginning, there was a gentleman who was a songwriter. He's, playing the piano, now working at Paradise Square. And a little bit down the road, I think in the beginning of the second act, you see him playing with the mogul and his wives, apparently becoming a songwriter, and he's taking credit for all the songs that you hear from the other people. So right there, that's a little something was not right with that story. So then, as they see the wanted sign, he's like, "Oh, I know that person. He works out of Paradise Square with me." Big mistake, buddy. Big mistake. So they go down to Paradise Square the day of the dance competition. Winner gets $300 because also, wow, I'm so sorry, I'm jumping all over the place with this. Everything's just coming at once. Around that time was the draft lottery of the Civil War. Now, unfortunately, African Americans were not allowed to fight in the war, and there was one part. There was one part of the song where the Irish immigrants did not want to fight in the war, but the African Americans did want to fight in the war. And you had two choices: either you are for when your name is drawn, either you're forced to serve in the war, or you pay I think it was like $150, $200 fee or fine to be excluded. So the winner would get $300, and both young gentlemen that I told you about, the one that was escaped, and the other one was the AJ. AJ, unfortunately, his name got called, and he was working his hardest to try to win this dance competition that way he can pay the fine and not go to war. Sydney, on the other hand, was saying, let me have the money so I can use it to escape and asylum with my wife. So both of them are doing a little dance battle and whatnot. Meanwhile, the mogul was at the Paradise Square Saloon, and Sydney won the dance competition. And as Nelly was handing him the money, here comes the mogul taking the money, and apparently because of that, it was an illegal transaction, because apparently it's something about handing the money over to a wanted fugitive or something like that. But Sydney escaped, and as running through New York City, he found his wife in one of the churches that the priest kept her asylum in. So they both try to escape. In the middle of all this, the back to the other Irish general with the arm missing, and the mogul. Both of them try to stir up a little plan to try to get their hands on the property. And it turns out the plan was to cause a riot and burn the buildings in the area. Because who's going to want a burning building? And plus, the mogul can buy the land for cheap. So here comes now. Again, the love that was in the beginning with the Irish immigrants and the African Americans, some of the Irish Americans kind of faded away and joined the riots and started burning, the building in the neighborhood. The last building remaining was Paradise Square, when everyone was coming there, saying, we're seeking asylum. It's, obviously the ones that are not part of the riots. And here comes literally, I think, one of the best songs in the entire, not only in the entire show, but I think in musical theater in a long time, which is Let It Burn. And you can feel the emotion that Nellie O'Brien gives while she's singing the song. Like with the way that my seat was, you can literally see a tear coming down her face.
Yeah.
Just like the one you saw in the Tony Awards. And oh my God. We literally, after the song ended, after this, that final note and the dun 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 dun, dun the final note, we literally jumped out of our seats instantly, and the ovation was almost like 5 minutes. And never have I ever experienced a full audience standing ovation in the middle of the show like that. Actually, we did 2 standing ovations. The first one was for Heaven Save Our Home at the end of the first act, and then was this one, but this one was a little bit longer. And again, I was in tears during Let It Burn, because the words are like, wow, you can feel the emotion.
So, okay, let me ask you a question.
I know it was a lot. I'm sorry.
No. Listen, I can't speak on the show. I haven't seen it. Again, unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to see this before it closed. So, I thank you for explaining this in detail. For anyone else who may not have got a chance to see the show before it closed. What do you trying to figure out how to word this? Where do you think this show, like, where do you think the show will find itself, like, in the history of, like, musicals? Like,
so I feel like this show, in my opinion, with the story, well, especially with the stories that are coming out right now, because it's because with everything that's going on that right now. But again, I'm only talking about how amazing the show was.
Yeah.
I think this will be like a potential cult classic. I'll try to find the best way to describe it. Because I know there's some shows out there that didn't run that long, but they have like a massive cult following.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'm trying to find like the best example of that.
I feel like Heathers is one of those shows that I think that was an off-Broadway show, but that show has like a very loyal fan base.
It's very popular in the UK right now, and
yeah,
over here in the US, it's like everyone's singing songs from Heathers. I'm like, what the hell is Heathers?
Yeah. Sorry, my
Exactly.
camera friendly. All right. So besides "Let It Burn," what would you say your other name 3 more songs besides "Let It Burn" that you really enjoyed?
Definitely Paradise Square in the beginning.
Okay.
Definitely Heaven Save Our Home. And there was another one. I'm trying to remember. I think. Oh yeah, the duet with Nellie O'Brien and another Annie Lewis. Now or Never. The harmonies on that was phenomenal. Just everything in general was phenomenal about Paradise Square. I loved it.
Yeah.
And I really wish that the public would have given it more chance. I'm being straightforward. Because
I don't even. Would you really say it was the public that did this in?
Kind of the public, because also around this time there's at least almost 30 shows that's currently on Broadway right now.
Yeah, that's true.
It's oversaturated. I'm being straightforward. Because you have The Music Man with Hugh Jackman, so everyone and their mother's gonna put a second mortgage on their house and see that. Then you have the ones that will never go away, which is Wicked, Lion King, Book of Mormon. Then you have the very popular ones from this year's Tony Awards, The Strange Loop, MJ, even Funny Girl for a little while. But no one was talking about Paradise Square, and that's why I'm using this platform to talk as much as I can about this. And hopefully, the people that asked me to do this, which I'm going to do a little name drop, and I do apologize if it gets me in trouble. I don't care. The social media, I actually reached out to the social media page of Paradise Square and told them that me and a friend of mine, we run a podcast, and one of the episodes was going to be about Paradise Square. So they said, thank you so much for the support. It means more than you know. Please let us know when we can listen. So that's why we're doing this right now, because honestly, I feel like they definitely deserve not the benefit of the doubt, but they deserve a hell of a lot of recognition for all the hard work that the men and women, not only in the cast, but the crew, the orchestra, even the front of the house, at the Ethel Barrymore, all of them, I think it was like 150 people total that deserves the love and recognition that they deserve. And the costumes were amazing. So definitely a huge love to the costume designers and everything else.
So what if you could say something to the entire cast and crew of Paradise Square, what would it be?
From an Irish heritage standpoint, you guys did absolutely amazing. And also the fact that all the cast members, you didn't treat your fans that come to the shows just like as they the key words as peasants. I've been to shows where the cast members just ignore the fans. It's rude, it's disrespectful. We're the ones that pay our hard-earned money to come see you guys and gals perform the performance of a lifetime, 8 shows a week in very dire and drastic conditions, all with smiles on your faces. And we want to be there to show your love and support, especially at the end. We're all trying to get, your autographs and photos at the end and talk. And the fact that you guys interact with all of us, it's absolutely amazing. And all of you are phenomenally talented. Like the singers on the show, the ensemble, Jokina definitely deserves that Tony Award. Otherwise, I would have freaking thrown my TV out onto the street. And everything else in general was just phenomenal. I have. I know I sound like a broken record, but literally, I've been talking about this for ever since I saw it. Hell, I was talking to him about it constantly, and he wanted to strangle me, saying, "All right, we get it. You love Paradise Square. We get it."
You know, it sucks because when we went to see, I saw Company with You for the first time, and then we saw Strange Loop.
Mm-hmm.
Our plan for the next set of 2 shows, Paradise Square was the first one that we were gonna do. So it was always an intention to get a chance to go and see. And it's just, you know, they announced on Tuesday that they're closing Sunday. That just made it very hard. You know, it's nobody's fault. Like, you do what you have to do, but
Absolutely, it's
yeah,
business.
yeah.
From that standpoint, understandable, but when we saw that, we were like, "Crap!"
You know, I also just want to say really quick, Ryan, because you talk about how talented the cast was. I always say this, and I don't know if that's controversial or, you know, people may disagree, but I always say the most talented people aren't in film or television, they're on Broadway.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, because these people have to do it live. They can't mess up. They can't miss their cues and everything.
And
8 nights a week.
And if something goes wrong, they have to improvise right on the spot.
Like yep.
Whereas, you know, television and movies, they go, cut. Okay, we do the scene. Here,
Yeah.
you cannot.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, again, you know, we've seen a lot of shows. We've witnessed little flubs here and there, but they just move on like it didn't even happen. And
what kind of felt weird for me was that the last time I was at the Ethel Barrymore was the impromptu last performance of Waitress back in December when they did the little limited run, and unfortunately they closed abruptly because they had to because of the COVID in the cast, and that's when COVID was, you know, spiking up, so they decided we're done. And actually, in the way that I found that it was a final performance was this guy over here, because he sent me the article saying that said they're ending their run early. I'm like, wait, I just saw the final performance.
When you saw it,
I reached out to Waitress as a joke saying, so since I saw the final performance, do I get a free pie? No response. I'm like, well, all right, I tried.
Was Sarah? I don't want to butcher her last name.
No, Sarah Bareilles was not a part of it.
I'm really excited because this Friday I'm going to go see Into the Woods. I hope she's there because I know she's one of the cast members in it. Also, Patina Miller, who way back when was in Sister Act, which is a show I feel was very, very underrated. I didn't see Patina Miller in Sister Act. I saw Raven Simone, but that's another show for another day. Amazing show.
Actually right there, you just said it right there. That's how I feel about Paradise Square. Very underrated, and Sister Act. Sister Act has, you know, there's actually a current UK production right now, and it's so I feel like this is gonna be. I feel like Paradise Square is like this. Even though Sister Act's only like what 5-6 years old, I think it was.
I think it's even maybe a little bit older than that. Oh, coming up to it's like 10 year.
Oh wow! So,
yeah.
Okay, so Paradise Square is the 2020s version of Sister Act. That's what I'm calling it right now.
I gotta tell you, I know this is a Paradise Square, but Sister Act was just so much fun, man. But we'll get into that another day. That's not so.
And also speaking of Into the Woods, just want to make this little disclaimer. I think the rumors are coming true with Into the Woods extending their run because originally it was supposed to be 8 weeks, and for those that haven't heard, you're probably hearing it on here first. What happened was they're only supposed to do 8 weeks, but then they extended it a little bit longer to like, I think, a couple more weeks because Samuel L. Jackson's The Piano Man, the piano lesson, was supposed to transfer into the St. James Theater where Into the Woods is currently at right now. But as of today, you can't get tickets for the piano lesson on SeatGeek because the theater that the St. James Theater is associated with, the theater group, they use SeatGeek as their official ticketing site. But no, you cannot get tickets for the piano lesson. So I heard this rumor, and I think it's potentially coming true. They are going to be moving into the Ethel Barrymore Theater come this fall, which means Into the Woods could be extending their run. Just saying.
And they were also dropping a cast recording too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean that's an amazing cast. Hopefully we get to cover that at some point in the future.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, hopefully you go see it too. So like now with Paradise Square,
Mhm.
with what was his name? Spiegel. I'm sorry, I forgot his first name.
Lee Siegel.
Lee. All right. Besides Lee Spiegel.
Siegel,
Sorry,
yep.
sorry, Lee. Is were there any other like big standouts to you, a part of the cast?
No,
Because I always feel like
and Jokina.
okay, but
But
would you say the whole cast as a whole was just
yes,
yeah
because it's actors and actresses that I've never seen on Broadway before. They're all relatively new to me, and they stood out the most.
yeah? I'm what else? All right, so Ryan, what was your big? I don't know if I asked this. I'm sorry if I did. If I did, just let me know. What was your big takeaway from the show? Oh no, I asked that. What would you say was the overall message of the show?
I think because actually the overall message was at the end of the show. Everyone was there in unity, but unfortunately, the Paradise Square unfortunately got burned down. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if it doesn't matter what the thing is, even if it's a building or like an item or even like something as simple as a candle. I'm just going by the era. All that matters is they'll always have the memory of that place stuck in their heads, and they will still live in unity. They will still live in unity and harmony. They just gotta find somewhere else to do it because it's just a building.
Yeah,
it's a building, but nothing takes away the bond of togetherness and love and harmony.
right. Again, I'm really sorry I missed this one.
Like I said, the story is like the 19th century version of Cheers, because everybody knew each other, everyone know their names. There was no character named Norm in the show, so don't worry about it. But again, just like Cheers, the concept was that everybody knew each other. They treated each other like family. They took care of each other through thick and thin, through the awesome times and the worst times. They were all there for each other. And with the building being gone, it doesn't matter. The building being gone, it doesn't matter because they still have the love and unity and togetherness. That's the message, in my opinion.
All right. So, anything else you want to say before we end this one?
My star rating, 5 out of 5, big time.
Where would you place this on your favorites, like your all-time list?
I put this in number between 7 and 8.
Okay, and
I've seen a lot of shows, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, I was gonna say that's a high number for the amount of shows seen. And I have to say sometimes when you sit there and rank shows in order of favoritism, like it's hard because like, well, this is number one for this reason, but this could also be number one because this one just has a personal meaning to me. But this is probably the best show I've ever seen. But then it's hard to rank shows. It really is. All right.
And as I stated, I believe middle of September they're releasing the cast album, so I highly recommend checking that out. And also, I believe in 2023-24 they're going to do the national tour in North America and possibly an international tour. So if you live in the United States or any other countries, follow Paradise Square on all of their social medias. And again, no cheap plug there. On their social medias on details on how to not only get the cast album, but also where to find them when they start touring.
I hope that Paradise Square finds the second life on their tour.
I think it will.
They were cheated out of on Broadway.
I think it will get a second life because sometimes tours do better than when they are on Broadway.
Oh, absolutely. Trying to think of which show is actually doing that right now. They're killing it on tour.
Sister Act.
Yeah, Sister Act is just so. I'm gonna save that review for a future show for a show day because I love Sister Act. And
I'm trying to think now like what show is doing better on tour. Rent is still 25 years.
Rent's a colossal hit, though, man.
I know.
Everyone knows Rent.
I know. I'm just saying. With stuff that's doing better on tour, and because they were only on Broadway for, I believe, 12 years. They're
Only?
Well, yeah, 12 years only.
Only 12 years?
Rent's been going on tour for, I believe, almost 20 years now.
But you said they've only been on Broadway for 12 years.
The fact that they're staying longer on tour, that's a good sign.
Yeah.
That's
what I also hope Mrs. Doubtfire does great on its tour, because I feel like that show also deserved better. A lot of fun.
Not to mention they're starting a UK.
Yeah. I think it'll do good in the UK.
Oh, absolutely.
I really think so. Yeah, exactly. It's a good cast recording.
Look at Cabaret. They did a revival out in London, and it's killing it right now.
I feel like they brought Cabaret back for a little while. I think with Alan Cummins as well.
They did, but I think from what I'm hearing with the UK version, they revamped the entire theater. And the secret is no one is allowed to take any photos or film anything when they go right into the front door.
Oh wow!
It's kind of like the situation with Take Me Out. They had them in little bags.
Yeah.
Right when they enter.
Some theaters actually do that, where you have to lock your phone up in the seat in front of you now. I mean, I just want to say, people, it's like, you go to a theater, just shut your damn phones off. You can do without it until intermission. Check it really quick, and then just shut the damn thing off again. It's 2.5 hours. These people give you everything they got to perform right in front of you, and it's so disrespectful. Somebody's alarm went off when I was in Company. Like they had an alarm on while we were watching Company. It's just so rude.
I think I heard someone's alarm go off during Strange Loop.
Probably. I'm gonna be surprised. It's just so.
No, I'm sorry. I heard that during Hadestown when I saw Hadestown a couple weeks ago. Oh my god, it was so annoying.
I'm so upset because I won lottery tickets for Hadestown and I couldn't accept them the day of. Hadestown, if you're listening to this, please give me a second chance.
And Hadestown, if you're listening, thank you for the front row seat.
Yeah, I don't need front row seats. I actually don't like front row seats. So
I was fine where I was in the front row seat. I saw everything.
I gotta tell you, so when I went to see Dear Evan Hansen this past weekend, we were in the second to last row in the mezzanine, and those seats were amazing. They were. I'm just thinking, it's gonna be I was giving my wife crap about it. I was like, oh, we're in the nosebleeds. They're gonna look this big. But man, those were some good seats.
I guess it depends on the show. For me, like if it's something, definitely like Paradise Square where there's a bunch of aerial shots. I definitely want to be like in the front mezzanine so I can see everything.
Yeah.
Or the orchestra, I don't mind like looking up, but definitely not front row. Like, hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
Not at all. I don't. Usually when I learned that lesson the next day after Hadestown, because literally I felt like I needed to call my chiropractor after that.
I think I said it.
But totally worth it because I had an empty seat next to me the entire time, so I had space. I loved it.
Could have gotten that second ticket. I sat front row for Anything Goes and Waitress.
Oh.
Yeah. And Anything Goes very, very dance heavy. Probably the best show dance-wise I've ever seen. Amazing show. Yeah. Anything Goes.
But yeah, folks, like I said, Paradise Square, highly recommend, big time. I know the play was a little old because I saw this in June during Pride Month, but who cares?
Catch it on tour if you can, because unfortunately you can't catch it on Broadway.
I know. Catch it on tour. Get the cast album. Sending all of our immense love to the cast and crew and everyone at the Ethel Barrymore Theater, and even the people behind the scenes. You guys had something amazing. You guys have not had. You have something amazing. And when you guys go on tour, people are gonna be barging the doors to go see it.
I gotta tell you, anyone who's listening, Ryan his love is genuine for the show because he always talked about it. Even before you guys announced closing, Ryan always talked about your show. So
look, on the way
this is a
home,
genuine. This is genuine love right here for your show.
on the way home from when I saw the performance, I called him and I told him about it. Like
Yeah.
not even like 20 minutes later. And
That's-
I was telling friends and family because I won the lottery for this one. And every time that I win the lottery, I post it on my social media pages, saying this is the seat that I won for, the show, and I tag the show in to try to get some foot traffic action into the shows. So when I saw that, a lot of people were messaging me, asking me about the show, and I was constantly just telling them, I pretty much had a little snippet, and I just copy and pasted it and just sent it to them because it was too much for me to write out every single time. So I just copy and paste. I think like 50 people in a week. And on top of that, telling my coworkers about it too, because they follow me on social media and they were asking my opinion about it.
Well, Ryan, I'm glad you got to enjoy the show.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Like I said, hopefully they have that success on tour.
I can't wait for the Cast album to come out. I want that album to come out.
I'll definitely check out the Cast album. So all right.
And
I guess go on.
And now for our next episode, we can finally say we're going to be talking about the 2022 Tony Award winner for Best Musical, A Strange Loop. And boy, do we have a lot to say about that.
This is supposed to be this episode, but we sidelined it for a very good reason. Like I said last,
a very important reason.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But like I said last time, very excited to talk about A Strange Loop. I have very strong feelings about A Strange Loop, and hopefully I can tell you about it next week. Oh God, I don't even. I have to really collect my thoughts and really think about what I'm going to say next week.
Yeah. But anyway, guys, thank you guys for tuning in to, I guess we're calling it R2R now, I guess.
We'll probably have a different name next week.
I'm sure we will. It's a work in progress. Nobody's perfect. But folks, thank you so much for tuning in on our second episode. And also that people that actually watched our first episode. Thank you for watching that cluster.
We promise they'll get better.
It'll get better over time. Don't worry.
Yes.
This is something that we've been talking about for months. And then we decided, let's just do it. But anyway, for my main man, Ryan Gross, I'm Ryan Peterson, wishing all of you a very good night. And just like what it says in here, there's no love than Paradise Square. Have a good night, everybody.